Okay, welcome to the Entrust Music Service and session 6 of our whole class guitar programme. Remember, you can pause or rewind the video at any time you need to go back and have another go at the pieces. Before we start, as normal, please make sure your guitar is roughly in tune. Let's have a look at the open strings and see how they should sound. So we have our E, A, D, G, B, and E. Okay, for today's lesson, we are going to recap some of our previous learning and also learn a new piece. Today's warm-up is going to be a copy-back exercise which we have used before. The exercise is going to use the open strings E and B. So our open string E, a high E, and the next string number 2 is B. So just to recap, on the video you'll see coloured bars at the bottom of the screen and it helps you keep your place. There's going to be a count-in and an introduction, and they are shown in the blue and yellow bars. When the bar is on red, you're going to be listening to a melody using the B and E strings. On the green bar, you're going to copy back the melody you've heard, but don't start too soon as you may not hear all of the melody being played to you. Have a go. Our first piece today that we're going to look at is called Cha-Cha-Ka-Ching, which we looked at in lesson 2. I've chosen this piece again to see if you can improve on it and improve the way you can improvise your melody. So there's 3 sections to this piece. The first and third section are the same, and it uses the notes G, A, B and C. Let's just have a quick refresh of where they look on the stave. So our G sits on the first line, that's our open G, our third string. Then we have the note A, which sits in the second space. That is our second fret on our G string. Then the note B, which sits in the middle line, that's our open B or second string. And lastly, the note C, which sits in the third space, and that is the first fret on the B string. Okay, this is a piece that had lots of tied rhythms and syncopation, so we play off the beat. I've got the melody here to show you so you can see how that's going to look. Okay, so that bar will sound like this. And that's repeated 4 times. Here it is again. Melody repeats in the same rhythm but starts on the note the note B, and then goes to a G. And then the last 2 bars of this section goes like this. So it's C, G, A, C. Okay, so that section's repeated at the end after the middle section. So the middle section is the part where you can improvise your own melody. We're using the notes, the G, A, B and C that we've used in the piece. And I've chosen this piece again to see if you can improve this section. So it will appear in the bar, you'll know when to play, and you're going to improvise. Start on the note C and use the notes B, A and G. So this time, make sure you use dynamics. So remember, dynamics are how quiet and loud you can play, and also vary the rhythm. You could play straight crotchets, or you could use the syncopated rhythms. It's up to you to decide how to play that, but try and make an improvement on your last attempt. In lesson 4, we learned the chord G, and in lesson 5, the chord A minor. For today's piece, Drunken Sailor, we're going to use both chords and change between them in time to the music. First, let's recap with the chord boxes what those chords are. Let's start with the G. So this is our chord G. So if you remember, the left hand line is your low E string and the right hand line is your high E. The crosses at the top mean you don't play those strings, so I can ignore my E and A string. I'm going to play an open D, open G, open B. And on my high E string, I'm going to have my third finger on the third fret. So this is how it looks. So open D, open G, open B, and my G there. I'm just going to strum those top 4 strings. Okay. Now last week we looked at A minor. I gave you 2 different versions of the chord to play just in case you found one easier than the other. So the full A minor chord looks like this. We don't play our low E string. We have an open A and an open high E. On the D and G strings, we're going to put our fingers on the 2nd fret, and on the B, my finger on the 1st fret. I'm going to show you how that looks. So we have open A, and I'm going to put my 2nd finger on the 2nd fret of my D string, my 3rd finger on the 2nd fret of my G, and my 1st finger on the 1st fret of the B string. I'm going to strum the top 5 strings, so not hitting my low E. And that's my A minor. If this is too tricky for you, we can do a simplified version, but just using the top 3 strings. So I've got crosses there on my E, A and D. So for this one, we're going to have our 2nd finger on the 2nd fret of the G string, my 1st finger on the 1st fret of the B, and an open E. So that'll be my 2nd fret there, my 1st fret on the B, and my open E, and I'm just going to strum the top 3 strings. Okay, so what we're going to do now, we're going to practice swapping between the 2 chords. So we're going to start with the A minor, so using whichever A minor. We're going to strum, and I'm going to count to 4. We're going to do 1 strum, and a count to 4, and I'm going to change to the next chord G, and hold that for 4. Then we're going to go back to A minor, and then back to G. Have a go with me. So get your A minor ready, and after 4 we'll start. So 3, 4, A minor, 2, 3, 4, G, 2, 3, 4. Remember, you can pick either using your thumb or a plectrum. I've got my classical guitar today, so I won't use a plectrum with that. I'll only use my thumb. So you've got to get used to switching between the chords, so A minor and G. There's two strumming patterns to this piece. One, we have 2 minims to a bar, so we're going to strum 1, 2, 3, 4. And the other pattern is 2 minims, a crotchet and a rest, which you'll see on the notation. So it'll be 1, 2, 3, rest. Every time the chords change, you'll see that on the notation. What I wanted to say was that if you can't do the 2 strums to a bar because it's too fast, it's more important that you can change the chord in time than strum. So if you can't do 2 strums like this, so A minor, and G, G, A minor, G, G. It would be easier if you just do 1 strum to a bar. So 1, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4. So you could practice it at first doing a slower strum, and as you feel more confident, you can add the extra strums into that. If you follow the music, you'll see where the chords change. Have a go. If it's too fast, just go back to strumming 1 chord per bar. And as you get more confident, have another go and then put the 2 strums per bar in. You've enjoyed today's lesson. So what could you practice this week? You could practice going between your A minor chord to your G and see how smoothly you can get the transition between the 2 chords. You could also try making up your own strumming patterns. You don't have to play every 2 beats. You could try and vary the rhythm a little bit as you're playing. Remember, you can access this video at any time you want to have a go at the tracks. So don't forget to join me next week for another whole class guitar lesson. I look forward to seeing you then. Bye for now.